Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, you can probably tell I'm not in Mexico. My vacation is over. I had an amazing time, but I'm back at home now, safe and sound and, well, camping again. This is definitely not a green screen. Anyways, I've got a lot of news to talk about today, some good news and some not so good news. And we'll start out with the not so good news, and it's between itch.io and Funko. And to me, this one is super weird. Now, from my understanding, this issue has kind of been resolved. It's not necessarily the happiest of endings, but it is an ending of sorts. So here is the initial tweet. I kid you not, itch.io has been taken down by original Funko, because they use some trash AI-powered brand protection software called Brand Shield Limited that created some bogus phishing report to our registrar, I Want My Name, who ignored our response and just disabled the domain. So at a high level here, original Funko took down itch.io. Now for those who may not be aware, I'm a big fan of itch.io. There's a lot of great stuff on this website, and they say here it's a simple way to find and share indie games online for free. So as you can tell, the website is back up and online here, but this is where I would say we have an ending, but not the happiest of endings. So this is the follow-up tweet from itch.io. Also for transparency, we did take the disputed page down as soon as we got the notice because it's not worth fighting stuff like that. Regardless, our registrar's automated system likely kicked to disable the domain since no one read our confirmation of removal. Now, based on my understanding of the situation, it seems like there's a failure or a kerfuffle on a bunch of different counts here. I mean, first and foremost, I can understand original Funko trying to protect their IP, and then they hired Brand Shield, which may or may not have been a failure. I don't know. Anyways, Brand Shield says, by utilizing proprietary AI and big database technology, Brand Shield monitors, detects, and removes online threats facing companies. And I would say maybe their AI is a little bit over aggressive here, or maybe their AI messed up, or maybe their AI didn't. Either way here, I don't think this is a good look for Brand Shield at all, or original Funko. Additionally though, I think it's also a very bad look for I Want My Name for just flat out taking down itch.io. It seems they didn't really know how to deal with this request. I could be wrong about that, but it just seems like they didn't know how to deal with the takedown request and deal with it appropriately. We'll have to wait and see what happens moving forward here, but I'm assuming that I Want My Name will be making changes to help combat this kind of stuff. I've got a hunch here that moving forward, we're probably going to see more sloppiness in general with takedown requests and handling of takedown requests as AI advances, and well, people have to learn how to deal with it. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And again, like everything I talk about, link is in the description below right at the bottom. And continuing to talk about some arguably not so great news, next up we're talking about CDRomance. Now for those who may not be aware, CDRomance is a hugely popular website for fan translations, ROM hacks and patches, and even more. And this website is going to be looking a little bit different moving forward. It's not really going to be updated in the way you may expect. So here's the latest from Spike from CDRomance. They say, hello fellow kids, just a heads up, all updates will now be hosted in the forum's repo. You'll need to log in to access it, but aside from that, everything else remains the same. The reason for this change is that the landscape has shifted dramatically in recent years, and we could benefit from reduced exposure. So CDRomance really isn't dead or going away like some people are reporting. It's still around, just in a different format. I'm assuming a lot of people are not going to like the new format here, and in terms of reduced overall exposure, I don't think this is going to do anything at all, but we'll have to wait and see here. Let me know your thoughts about CDRomance in the comments below and the stance they're taking. And on a quick side note here, just to provide a bit more context as to why I don't think the whole reduced exposure piece is going to be very effective and might actually be counterintuitive. Number one, we have seen companies be very thorough in their investigations. They've been very vigilant, going after things they're not in agreement with. And hiding things behind a login may entice some further investigations. And number two here, the whole login piece may expose some people if they don't want to be exposed. I mean, I would argue having logins and passwords kind of makes things a bit more trackable, if you know what I mean. But moving on here, next up we're talking about Simple Launcher. Simple Launcher, for those who may be unaware, is an emulator front end that makes playing retro games a breeze, and Simple Launcher just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, release version 3.7.0 is the latest update. And I would argue this is a pretty big update. They've added a tool to generate bat files for Xbox 360 XBLA games. They've added a helper class to assist users during system edits. They've improved the UI in the edit window. They've added support for launching Mattel Aquarius games on MAME. Additionally, there's a whole lot more here, including updating the emulator version of easy mode emulators to the latest version. There's bug fixes and even more improvements. Simple Launcher is 100% free and open source, and again, like everything I talk about, link is in the description below right at the bottom. And speaking about bug fixes, next up we're talking about one of the best and one of my favorite Game Boy Advance emulators out there, mGBA. And mGBA just released version 0.10.4. So Ndrift, the main developer here, says this version is a bug fix release which contains several important fixes. Important fixes include the Wii version being unable to launch in some cases, and multiple issues with the updater. They also say this is the last release before version 0.11. Taking a look at the changelog, and there are a number of fixes here. I mean, mGBA just keeps getting better and better. And interestingly, on the Switch, they've added a bilinear filtering option. mGBA is 100% free, it's open source, it's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, and also available on the 3DS, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Wii, and PlayStation Vita. And speaking about new versions, next up we're quickly talking about Box 64, Box 86, and also Box 32, which just got brand new versions. Now this information comes right from the box86.org website, and they say while the changelog for Box 86 doesn't contain much, there are a lot of new improvements, features, and fixes for Box 64, with some speed increase, improved compatibility, and a new sub-project, Box 32. If you are curious about Box 32, for those who may not be aware, Box 32 stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, and Box 86 allows 32-bit programs to run on 32-bit systems. Box 64 allows 64-bit programs to run on 64-bit systems. And Box 32 here allows 32-bit programs to run on 64-bit systems. Now, Box 32 is a part of Box 64. It's still early on in development, and they say it's disabled by default right now, but it is a build option that can be easily switched on. They say it's still a young project, so not many things work, like Steam and even Steam CMD. But some Linux games work, and when they work, they are fast. Now, if you wanted to see this in action, they do have a video up on YouTube, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. It's a very interesting watch to see how everything is all coming together. And speaking about blog posts, next up we're talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation with Azahar. Now, this one is pronounced Azahar, although a lot of people say it should be pronounced Azahar or Azahar. It is pronounced Azahar as per the developers of this emulator. Anyways, here they've got a brand new blog post on how this emulator came to be, the merging of Pablo MK7 and also Lime 3DS. Now, for those who may be unaware, both Pablo MK7 and Lime 3DS were forks of Citra, which technically makes Azahar a fork of Citra. Now, if I'm not mistaken here, I'm not a lawyer and this is not legal advice, but if I'm not mistaken, Citra was more or less collateral damage in the whole Yuzu versus Nintendo lawsuit. From my understanding, Nintendo was going after Yuzu, a Switch emulator, and not Citra, a 3DS emulator. It just happened that Citra was developed by the same people who developed Yuzu and was taken down also because of it. So in terms of whether or not Citra is okay, I think it is. I don't think it was the direct subject of the lawsuit here, so I think everything regarding Citra is okay. Anyways, feel free to read through the blog post. It's a very interesting write-up on how these two emulators came together and, well, what's coming next. And speaking about 3DS emulation, next up we're talking about Panda3DS, which is not a fork of Citra. It's its own thing. Anyways, it appears a lot of development is going on in the background of Panda right now, and they've got a few new things working, like Nintendo 3DS Sound. On top of that, they've also got the AR card app working, and also Face Raiders. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of Face Raiders. Anyways, there still is some work left to do here. They say, sadly, Game Notes graphics are broken. Panda3DS, in my opinion, is a very interesting 3DS emulator in the 3DS space, and it seems to be making improvements in leaps and bounds, and I'm very curious to see what they do next. For those who are curious, Panda3DS is 100% free and open source. It's available for Windows, Mac, Linux, and Android. Moving on, and this is more of just a friendly heads up, but it turns out that the remaster of Croc Legend of the Gobbos has been delayed. So they posted this update over on Twitter. Dear Croc fans, we have an important update regarding the release of the Croc Legend of the Gobbos remaster. After careful consideration, we have decided to push the launch into Q1 2025. and I believe their Q1 is just a calendar Q1, so January, February, March. This decision was not made lightly, but we believe that a little more time is needed to add the final touches to ensure the game meets the high standards that we all aspire to, and which you deserve. Now, it appears based on the reactions to this post that the overall sentiment is positive here. People are okay with them delaying this game a little bit just to make sure things are right. And in my opinion, I'm of the same mindset here. I think realistically, games that are rushed and broken upon release and then patched later are far worse than games that are just delayed to be good. So let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Are you excited about the game? Are you waiting for it? And what do you think about this, I guess, slight delay? And speaking about delays, I guess, next up we're talking about something very weird on the PlayStation Store, and this is real. So the game is called Grand Taking Ages 6, and it's to be released in May of 2025. Now, taking a look at the game description here, and I've got no idea how long this is going to stay on the PlayStation Store for, and I don't know how it was put up in the first place. Anyways, here, they say the most anticipated game about making the most anticipated game. You're now in charge of the biggest gaming disaster or masterpiece. Run your dream game studio while judging angry fans, corporate chaos, and endless delays. Fight your way through gaming conventions, dodge ruthless journalists, and master the art of creative excuses. And at the bottom of the description, it says, get ready to redefine. It's done when it's done. P.S. In memory of those who didn't have a chance to live till this moment, and those who gave up waiting and bought a PS6 instead. PS6 doesn't exist yet, but by the time some games release, it probably will. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Now, based on everything I'm seeing here, it seems to be a parody. It may not be real, and it may be taken down from the PlayStation Store. But maybe, who knows, maybe this turns out to be a real game, and maybe it turns out to be a Game of the Year contender. Let me know your thoughts about Grand Taking Ages 6 in the comments below. Are you excited about it? Are you going to add it to your wish list? But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. I had some more to talk about today, but I'm losing my voice, and well, I should get it back for tomorrow's video, hopefully, and I'll have some stuff to talk about then, including our PCS3 stuff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.